you want to start this one? How did you start it? Make the introductions.
I don't know what number we're on.
What? Are you not paying attention?
Mm-mm.
Welcome to episode 15 of After Bedtime.
15?
With Stevan.
I feel like that's a little big. And Kelsey.
No, it's 15. It's episode 15. We're an episode behind. Because...
You had to bring that up.
Yeah, because here's the thing. The name of our podcast is After Bedtime, and it's perfectly fitting. But here's the thing.
You just said, but here's the thing.
I know. After bedtime is adult time, and all adults want to do after they put their kids to bed is nothing. So then it's like, oh, we got to do a podcast. And then we don't do it.
That way.
Then we don't do it.
I'm fine with just doing it. But I can normally tell based on your personality if the kids go to bed and you're not bringing equipment in. It's not happening.
No, I'm always planning to do it. I'm reading you.
That's not true.
Yes.
Yeah, but I've been fine to do it.
Sometimes I read you and I'm like, okay, her energy, it's just not there today. I'm going to give her brain a mental break. The kids fried her. And, yeah.
You think the kids fry me on a regular basis? I don't feel like they fry me on a regular basis.
Not on a regular basis, but some nights it's just, I can tell like they put the whooping on you.
The quarantine has been a little heavier because we can't go anywhere.
Yeah, what's it like being? I guess I don't know. It's not necessarily that we're the social distancing, right? I mean, are we quarantined? I guess we are on stay at home order.
it would be. Well, I guess it's not self-quarantining anymore because we are under a stay-at-home order.
Right, we're under a stay-at-home order, and you guys haven't been in contact. Well, I mean, I take that back because I'm going to work, so we really don't know. Our 14 days kind of like starts over every day.
Time you go to work.
But
I mean, you go to work every other day.
This is like an introvert's dream, though. This scenario, this world is like, this is awesome. Like,
I don't mind.
I don't understand people who are like, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm bored. I don't have anything to do.
I don't mind it. I just wish that it would be over so that we could. Because I didn't realize how often me and the boys actually did go do. Like it didn't. Like I thought that the quarantining and the stay-at-home order wasn't going to be a big deal. It wasn't going to change a whole lot. But me and the boys actually did go to a lot of places, like to the library, or if we got bored that day, we'd just go over to your mom's or my mom's, or
break up the routine.
Just break up the routine.
Breaking up the routine is that is a Stevan Freeborn special for raising children. You must break up the day.
Well, and I think really the biggest, it'd probably be a little bit more tolerable, but I think it's out of everybody, it's hitting Cal the hardest.
Yeah, Cal don't like it.
He's not a fan. He likes going into grocery stores. He likes going to Target.
He likes his me and Papa.
He loves his me and Papa.
And he doesn't understand why he cannot
He's asked to go see Papa Call multiple times now. Now he's randomly asking to go to Colorado or Chicago.
Yeah, I know. I wonder what they think in their minds right now when we're like, because like he'll ask, and we'll be like, no, you can't go because there's sick people there.
No, I don't
wonder if
say
that's
it like
permanently
that.
Scarring him. Like he's always going to be like, are there sick people here?
Well, we went to Chick-fil-A the other day and they've taken extra measures by putting their employees in masks and stuff like that. And I think that kind of startled him a little bit because we have been talking about we have to stay home because we don't want to get sick and we want to keep like our family safe and stuff like that. And
I mean, we're living through, but it's kind of crazy. Like we're living through a transformational event. Like this will be something in 20 or 30 years, people will literally refer to it and say life before the great lockdown and life after the great, like it will be like this distinct historical event.
I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts about it. It's Rhett and Link from Good Mythical Morning, I think is what they're from. But
shout out.
They were talking about the changes.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rhett was saying that handshaking is gone for 2020. Like he does not think that that's coming back.
I think it'll come back.
He thinks it will come back. He just does not think it's coming back for 2020.
Yeah, it'll be. And all of our behaviors will remain very much the way they are until there's a vaccine. Until we have some reassurance, or we have some reassurance that those who have caught it can't catch it again. Like that there's some immunity.
Yeah, and I think the discussion right now is that
we don't know.
They don't know for sure.
Yeah. So like that, to me, I feel like a lot of those physical behaviors, I agree. They'll be like, it'll be sketch until we get to
It'll
that.
be limited at least a little bit more of like strangers.
Well, I think that too, like even if we were to reopen businesses and things, I think people are going to be very hesitant to re-engage in any of those things because the threat is still there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's still that uncertainty, that unknown.
And the uncertainty of like whenever they do say that you can't get it again or whatever, or if there's more strands or whenever they start finding out more stuff, it's how do you know that you've had it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you don't have testing.
Yeah, there hasn't been enough testing and all that type of stuff. Well, how do we get here?
Well, it's just, we were talking about how like if this will be like something that they remember. If like this for the rest of his little life, he'll be like, are there sick people here? You know what I mean?
No,
like we created this like...
He hasn't really like talked like that, so I don't feel like... But I've been making it a little bit easier than just flat out being like, we're not going outside because it's sick people. Like I've been trying to be
simplify it
a lot easier about it. But I do think that going through the Chick-fil-A drive-thru and seeing all those people with masks on,
it's a little startling.
Made him uncomfortable.
Well, actually, the first time, it was very early on. It must have been like a week, the second or third week in March. I left work and I stopped at the gas station that just opened up by work. And when I walked in, the lady behind the counter had gloves on. And for some reason, that really threw me off. Like I walked in the door, I immediately noticed it, and I was just kind of like, and then it clicked in my head, obviously, that like, given the certain, then I kind of came back to reality, like what was going on in the world. But it is, in Western culture, it's just not something that we've regularly, like in Asian cultures, that's a very common thing to wear masks in public places and things like that. But here in the West, it's not. So it's going to take some getting used to, I think.
Yeah.
And I can imagine if it startles me, it probably startles...
It did catch me off guard.
It probably...
Pulling up and seeing them all with masks on, which I know that they're just doing what they need to do to protect the customers that are coming through there. Because they were all the cloth masks. And which like I appreciate it, but I did, as I was pulling up, it kind of made my heart jump a little bit because it kind of almost makes you feel for a split second like, oh my God, it is like it's real.
Or yeah, that puts you on alert. Like there's something that I'm not aware of, and then you realize, oh, okay, I'm aware of that fact.
Yeah, but also like I feel like our day-to-day life isn't like I don't feel like I'm constantly reminded of it. As long as I stay off social media.
Well, yeah,
but like you almost kind of forget
that, and that's what we talked about last time.
We're not being directly affected by it.
It's like life is different, but it's the same.
Yeah,
because like there's this larger situation, but because of where we are in the country and being in a rural area, and there's not that many cases or anything.
Well, I mean, there's quite a few.
And if you're not really going out, well,
at
I
least
mean,
not
in Jasper, Newton County,
yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a handful, and so, excuse me. If you're not going out, you're not seeing a lot of people, and you're not working someplace where these measures are being put into place, you can feel like things are business as usual.
Yeah.
But they're not.
Yeah.
It's just a very odd reality we're living in.
Oh, he had 1,000,001 questions as soon as we were pulling up. And I felt uneasy on how I was supposed to answer some of them.
But as much as things are the same though, like we obviously things like people in our family losing their jobs, like places or my place of work having to lay people off. It's like then when things hit real close like that, you're like, oh, this is very serious,
Yeah.
And I think it's...
Well, I mean, I thought it was serious from the get. It's just we weren't directly seeing the effects of it.
Yeah, I think because of
more recently.
Because of where we live, we're not in a very populous center. I just think it takes a long time for large scale things to trickle. Like even like in the 08, 09 financial crisis, like my mom didn't lose her job until like the tail end of 09 going into 2010. So like the economic fallout that happened, it had to like domino through the economy, and then it finally impacted a business close enough in our community where that was a byproduct. You know what I mean? So I think that's the same in this case. Is like it's going to impact us. I just think it's going to take a little longer.
I know, but the way everyone's talking, like, oh, come May 1st, it's almost like everything's just going to go back to normal.
I don't think so.
It's not going to be the same.
I think we're seeing more economic impact here than we are seeing virus or pandemic impact.
Yeah.
And that's good. I mean, that means that
area.
we're taking measures and we're doing our best. You know what I mean? It means there's some positive, but we are seeing the negative economic consequences of the whole thing. But Trump's going to send that money, so it's all good. Getting them checks. Actually, my biggest concern right now, like I'm joking, but my biggest concern right now is I need a haircut. So bad.
I don't.
It's just so long, and it's heavy, and it's hot, and it's on my neck. And So Kelsey's getting ready to become a hairstylist.
No, I'm not.
Actually, you know what? I was thinking maybe we should ask, we should break some social distancing rules and ask if Jordan's sister will cut my hair. I was trying to think of people we know that are in our friends and family circle.
I know, but I wouldn't mind Shelly coming over and doing it either.
Yeah, we're gonna have to make some moves and get this hair dressed.
What's funny is that, like, when I had brought that up initially to some family, everyone was like, "You're really gonna go and get pretty much like just because the boys need a haircut?" And I'm like, "No, it's not for the boys. I'm totally fine with the boys just growing their hair out and being all wild until all this is over. It's for Stevan."
Yeah, I mean, I'm not dying, but like it is kind of annoying.
Yeah, but I do know that it kind of affects your mood a little bit.
Well, when I'm uncomfortable, yes. When it's hot and sweaty.
Not just when you're uncomfortable. If you don't like the way you look.
Yeah, I mean,
it puts you off.
Yeah, everyone's like
that. No,
that.
I'm like that too. You know I'm just saying.
If you're like, man, my hair looks like shit. Well, of course you're gonna be in this shitty mood.
I don't feel like it looks that way.
I appreciate that. So, are you thinking about having another baby?
No.
You don't want to have a third?
I mean, like, I have moments where I would like to hold a baby. I'd like to love on a baby, and I'd like to do all the motherly things for a baby, like newborn. I don't want another toddler.
You want to do that with two toddlers too?
Yeah, I'd be
do that
fine.
And have the two toddlers.
I totally think I could do that.
The toddlers are high maintenance these days.
So much more so than what they were as babies.
Waking up is a stark reminder.
I know, but you need to send them back to bed.
No. I understand that.
They're getting up too early.
It's hard to beat them awake. It's just killing me. It's tough in the mornings.
I think that's so funny because I've always been the sleepy person in my family. Like, parents have pictures of me falling asleep in the most random places, and it's always been like a funny joke that like I'm the napper and I'm the sleepy person. But when it comes to like, I can pop right up out of bed.
I like to wait. It's not so much that I can't pop right up.
For the children.
But I don't like I do not like the rushing around. I do not like that. And like with them, every morning it's like 5-alarm fire because Cal's freaking out because of his diaper or something. And Kyler's freaking out because he wants food. And
Kyler wakes up and he's ready to eat.
And you're just like stumbling out of bed and they're like on you and you're just,
I know, but that's where we need to enforce the light
Go
rule.
to bed. and I will deal with you at 8 a.m.
I'm not saying 8
No,
a.m.
I know you're not. I get your point.
I'm just trying to get them to 7 a.m.
Well, I think we should really add a baby to all this.
No.
Just sounds like an awesome idea.
No. But I have established with myself that I already have heightened anxiety with the 2 that we have now, and then adding a 3rd into it will just heighten the anxiety even more, and I don't think that is healthy for my mental state or for my heart.
Yeah, and I just think it'll...
Even though I would love to have another baby and I would love to love on another kid, I just personally don't think right now is
I'm just hoping
best.
I'm just hoping Lane and Shelby can have a baby, and
I'm just wanting to hold on. And the other issue is that one of my best friends has just had her baby, and we were finally at a point in our relationship that I could have like come running as soon as she had that baby and like held it, you know.
COVID strikes,
and then COVID comes, and I can't even meet her.
And we can't meet my new
cousin. Our aunt and uncle
we can't meet
had
him.
A baby. We can't go and meet him. And
that's like crazy. That baby's going to be 6 months almost before we meet it.
We don't know that for a fact, but I mean, yeah, he's not going to be a newborn.
Well, I mean, if it's your baby and you don't know if these people are vaccinated, you're going to let them around your baby?
What are you talking about? Vaccinated.
So this is a good... Okay, so we established we don't want a baby, but we really like the idea of having a baby.
I think I got so excited to have these newborn babies in my life, and then COVID snatched them away. Yeah. Or just the same as like
damn COVID.
Kelly and DJ's son. Like we could have been going up to Kansas City and playing with him more.
Nope.
And getting to know him.
Nope.
And all of it's just frustrating because there's these little babies wrapped around us, and we could be giving all of that loving baby energy we could get that our we fix. Have. Yeah.
Our fix.
But I do have those moments where I'm like, of thinking, it'd be nice to have a little girl, or it would be nice just to have another rough and tumble boy in the mix. Yeah, but they cost
money and they're too much work.
No, that's what I'm saying. I know that, and that's why we have agreed that at least
we have to temper each other's baby enthusiasm.
You're the one that pressures it 1,000 times more than I do.
You do a good job holding strong. So as it relates to this, what I was saying is like, even if things let up, meaning like everyone feels like our outbreaks are under control, the number of new infected cases is going down or is pretty much to zero, the death cases are slowing down, and basically on a governmental level, at a government level, they're removing the stay-at-home orders. They're allowing businesses to open. They're removing the restrictions on the number of people that are gathering, all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not going and running as soon as all that happens.
Yeah, right? I mean, because essentially, or my logic, the logic I'm following is that this virus is still circulating at some level.
Yeah.
And we don't understand what the immunity is, and we don't have a way to immunize against it. So it's kind of like, well, it could respread, or it could break out again. So like as a parent, in the case of like our new baby cousin, if you were that baby's parent, would you feel comfortable bringing people in to meet your family because that risk?
Well, I don't think, no, not at a newborn level. No, I wouldn't feel comfortable.
Yeah, because I just,
doing it because I've seen cases, at least I haven't really seen cases overseas as much, but I've seen cases in the United States where it is affecting newborns.
Well, yeah, and you can't, with your kids, like the thing with your kids that's so hard is like, in some ways you can never be too careful with your kid. Because if something happens to them, that's it. There is no do-over. There is no reset. There is like in these horrible situations where like children are abused or children get taken advantage of, those are like though that you can't fix that, and so it's like same thing with like a disease or an illness like this. Yeah, the risk of them contracting it may be very small, and then the risk of them getting really ill may be very small, but it's kind of like, but it's like, what amount of risk is acceptable with your kid?
Well, and also it, like, I mean, the parents are at risk here too.
Yeah, you're right. And but this actually leads to another conversation is like schools. Like, are you gonna in September, not just for us, but for all parents in September or August, are we gonna send our kids back to school without immunizations for this?
I think that's a discussion we'll have when it's closer to the time.
Because it's kind of like you need all these you need a list of immunizations against contagious diseases to go to public school in the first place. So are we going to reopen our public schools?
We don't even know for a fact that schools are going to be open at that point. We don't know that.
No, we don't. But I mean,
because they could open everything up come May, and now there's like a little reinfected situation, and then we all go back on a stay-at-home order again. Yeah, I mean, it's not. I would say those are discussions that will be had.
Like with Cal, like I don't think.
No, I don't
think I would send him to preschool if there's not immunizations
for COVID. Yeah, I don't feel
I'm kind of leaning that way.
But I still went ahead and like registered him.
Because
I want to hold that spot.
You gotta prepare for both. But I mean, like right now, the way I see it is like I don't really understand how it could be safe. I don't understand. I just don't see how you could execute.
I read an article saying that some universities are discussing of not having in-person classes until 2021.
They're talking about rolling out at-home ACT and SAT in like a month or two.
Well, they're going to have to do that because their kids graduating and going to college.
That's crazy. I mean, that's unprecedented, right? Like, think of that. Like, you're taking your ACT at home. That's crazy. Instead of in a classroom of 30 or 40 other people with a proctor.
But they would probably do it on like Zoom.
Yeah, they probably do online. They have some software
sort of
like what they use at university for online classes.
To where you can't click out of the screen so that they can tell that you're.
Yeah, I would think that schools should be preparing for some form of distance learning.
Yeah, well, I think
because they're saying there's not
going
to be a vaccine until like early 2021 at the soonest. Like Johnson & Johnson, they just went into production on a vaccine, and they were saying they were not planning to be in human trials until like the fall. And that would mean they wouldn't really be producing it for the public until early 2021.
I know, but then that kind of means that Cal loses his whole entire preschool.
I'm not saying, like, to your point, we have to evaluate these things closer. But at this moment in time, I'm kind of like, I'm hedging the other way, just for the sheer fact of like I don't know what could happen, and I can't control those other kids or those other kids' parents. I don't know. I don't even know how you'd have a class where social distancing is executed. How do you keep kids 6 feet from each other?
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying that that's why I feel like it needs to be reevaluated closer in time, because I don't want to. I mean, I kind of feel like that's a catch-22 situation because I don't want him to not be prepared going into kindergarten.
We could just prepare him.
Okay, you keep saying, here's the situation, and that type of stuff that annoys me, is that you keep saying we, and it really means me.
No, I would help. When
you're home.
Yeah, if it came down to that.
It's me for the bulk of the day, and I'm not confident in my ability.
You just tell Cal, hey, when Dad gets home, it's serious school time, okay?
No, I just would need to get in contact with Mary.
Yeah, we have to figure out what the curriculum. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like, okay, well, if you have to delay your kid's education by a year or whatever, it's, I think, well worth the risk of if there is a significant risk of it still being contracted, you know. I don't know. It's something to think about. What about Cal playing sports? Do you want your son to play sports?
Yeah. We were talking about that tonight, about what sports he wanted to play, and he said he wants to play soccer. I tried convincing him on football and baseball, and he doesn't really seem keen tonight. More of just because I think.
Did you play sports when you were a kid?
Yeah, I did. I did the traditional route of sports. Like,
did you like it?
Put me in soccer. I mean, I'm sure I did. I don't quite remember. I remember soccer a lot because one of my childhood best friends was huge into soccer. So I think I kind of just made myself more into soccer because I wanted to be with her more. But I don't remember like playing that much of other sports.
Just soccer.
Well, just elementary school wise, I don't really remember a whole lot of playing different sports other than soccer. And then once we got to like middle school, I tried basketball. Didn't do very well with that whole situation.
What kind of sports mom are you gonna be? Are you gonna be like the soccer mom, like running them everywhere and real into it, or are you gonna be more like, oh, it is what it is, you know, no big deal? More aloof?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Are you gonna be like real invested in it, or?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna be invested in anything that my kids do. I want them to succeed in no matter what they want to do, and in any way that I can help them do that, I'm gonna do that.
That's good.
My nose is like super itchy, and I've been trying not to scratch it because you're not supposed to touch your face right now. But I can't.
I get the Rona.
I can't help it.
Yeah, you really become like, I went to the grocery store and I've been doing the dirty hand, clean hand technique. Because see, this is the weird. I mean, this is one of the things people don't understand is like, you know, like in a hospital setting, for example, right? If you have a patient that has like contagious, something that's very highly contagious, like the one I'm most familiar with is C. diff. Like, we used to get patients in the ER that would have C. diff, and the whole room would become this like containment zone, and you had to put on all this special PPE, and then you'd go into the room wearing all this PPE, and everything in the room is assumed to be dirty.
Yeah.
And immediately as you exit the room, all your PPE is dirty. So you take it all off, throw it away, clean your hands, hand sanitize your hands, everything, and then go to the next patient. In that kind of protocol and procedure, it's much simpler. It's much more simple in that kind of contained environment. When you try to execute that similar approach in a grocery store,
well, just in everyday life,
because it's like, okay, I don't really have all the PPE I need, and everything in here is, if I assume everything in here is dirty, I can't really be interacting with anything in my pockets at the same time as, you know what I mean? So it's like, so that's why I tried to do the clean hand, dirty hand.
I tried to do that.
Right, it was like,
well.
I had one hand that was just touching like my stuff, like my phone, my key, my wallet. And then like I had one hand that was touching like all the other stuff in the store. I don't know how much more helpful that is, but it does make you very self-conscious all of a sudden of how much you are touching.
Steven, I feel uncomfortable. Like one of Cal's biggest joys is to help me take out the trash. I feel uncomfortable taking him to the trash area with me. I feel uncomfortable allowing him to check the mailbox and take the mail back in. Like, there's all day long.
Why? Because people are touching all that stuff?
Well,
you don't know.
I don't know if the mail person has it. I've heard that there is a local garbage man that is now in isolation because he was on a route that tested positive for somebody who had COVID, and he didn't have proper gloves that day.
That's kind of crazy.
It's just like, you don't think. Have
you seen the movie Contagion?
No, I don't. And especially now that everything is going on, I have refused to go anywhere near I have seen Contagion before, but I don't I wouldn't be able to quote it or anything.
It just makes you super hype. You just living through this sort of situation makes you hyper aware.
Well, yeah, I went and checked the mailbox, and then I was like thinking of, well, now I'm holding the mail in this hand, so now I gotta open the door with this hand, and then I need to hand sanitize.
It's almost,
and wash my hands.
It's almost impossible unless you're literally disinfecting everything that comes into your home.
Well, and that's the other issue, is that there's a shortage of all that stuff. So yeah, I can't now I'm having to decide of what needs disinfecting and what doesn't need disinfecting. And is it really that big of a deal that I'm getting the mail and bringing it in? Like, literally, that's my mind all day long.
I think right now it's just doing the best you can
and taking the garbage out. And
now that you're so off the train of thought, you're back to the coronavirus. What about your kid playing sports? How are you gonna get them into sports?
Well, my mom actually tagged me in, Little League, our local Little League, and it's called Little Hitters for baseball. And it says 3 to 4 year olds. It was for $38 for 3 Thursdays. I think it said that it would
anything with people Cal will love.
That's what I was thinking. I think he'll enjoy it, because as soon as we told him that we signed him up for preschool, he was over the moon.
He's all my friends are there.
Yeah, he's so excited to
and I'm
gonna
go and beat them.
And he's just, I think those little sports will make him happy.
Yeah, he'll like it.
But that's the other issue then, though, is that if you're telling me that he can't go to school.
Yeah, I'm a hedger, so I'm going to be
vaccination, then is he going to be able to do sports this summer?
Probably not. Oh, well, they won't do sports this summer.
The June setup is still there for Little Hitters.
That's not going to stick. There's no way. There's no way.
I know, but then why would they have it open
because
for people
they're thinking,
to register?
We'll see how things go. I mean, they're thinking like everybody else is. We don't want to cancel stuff in June until we play out May.
Our St. Louis area has canceled all 4th of July activities.
I bet there won't be MLB. There won't be MLB. The Major League Baseball season will not happen this year.
Altogether.
If it does happen, it would happen under some kind of weird circumstances where there's no fans in the stadiums or stuff like that. It's just
sports people are going to lose their minds.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening. I don't see us. To your point, I don't see a world in which we contain the outbreaks and then we relax social distancing and the outbreaks don't come back. Because a thing that is controlling the outbreaks at this moment is not immunization. We don't know it could be some level of immunity among those who survive. We don't know that. But what's containing the outbreaks at this point in time is social distancing. And until we have that vaccination, immunization, that's the only thing. So the results you get in controlling the outbreaks is predicated on those measures. Mm-hmm. So when the measures become relaxed, no doubt the outbreaks are going to resume to some level. Maybe not as bad, but to some level. And so it could just be this rolling thing where 8 weeks of social distancing, 4 weeks of not, 8 weeks of you know what I mean? We just get into the cycle.
Well, I was emailing the lady who is kind of one of the head people at the preschool that Cal will be going to. And she did make a comment that they were trying to work out a situation on Zoom.
Yeah, it's kind of
finishing out a school year for the kids that are in it now, and
it's fascinating to watch. It's fascinating to watch people adapt to this. The remote working and learning, and it's
because some businesses still need to run somehow. HR people still need to. Yeah. There's situations where we still need them to work, but we need to try to keep everyone safe all at the same time. Just the same as kids
This
still
soda's
need
making me burp a
education.
lot.
It's because it's Coke.
I should have
You
got
should-
coffee.
You shouldn't have been drinking a Coke right before.
That may be better than root beer though. That's good. Cherry Coke Zero. That's good.
Coke burns my throat every single time I drink it.
You didn't ask me at all about what I think about
You're not even let me finish a statement before you transition to something else. How do you feel about Cal in sports?
Man, take it or leave it.
Whatever, you're such a liar.
I'm unbelievably biased. I mean, I think if kids don't participate in sports, they're missing out on one of the most fundamental life experiences ever. I think youth sports are always difficult just from my...
But pause, I've heard that Joplin is really, really pushing to try to do like a more unified thing to where like the little league, like the high school coaches are trying to become more involved in like little league situations.
Yeah, like I
to have a more unified.
And I can only speak from my experience of these things, like my own personal experience of these things. And like, I don't care so much about that as I do as youth sports are. I expect at some level when kids reach a certain age, when they start playing more competitively, like I would probably say maybe late middle school, early high school, I expect the tone of the athletic endeavor to shift a little bit. I expect it to become a bit more serious, a more competitive. There's more, I guess, a level of professionalism around it. Like I expect that.
Yeah.
But there's a difficult thing at the youth level where, because the people that are largely directing the leagues and that are participating in the league as coaches are not always the most well-adjusted individuals. Sometimes they're not ones that have the greatest perspective on it. Because my point of view of sports, especially at that level, that age group, it's not necessarily about the competitiveness, and it's not necessarily about the sport as an end. It's not just about the sport in and of itself. It's about the head fakes that kids learn through those experiences. Like I kind of stole this from Randy Posh, but he gave a speech that was like about head fakes in his life. And like sports has a lot of these head fakes where you send your kid to play sports, especially at a younger level, not because you want her to be an MLB superstar or the next some parent. Then that's the difficult part with youth sports to me, is because what I care is that my kids learn to work with others, that they learn how to fail and fail graciously, and that they learn how to deal with adversity and respond to it positively. And that when they encounter those things for the first time and they don't know how to respond positively, that they have good coaches and good adults around them that teach them how to and show them how to and demonstrate that for them. Because those lessons are so big for you as an adult, but sports offers this small microcosm of life where the consequences of failure or reacting poorly or not doing the right thing are not life and death. They're not lose a job, get a job, or mess up your marriage, don't mess up your marriage. It's you're going to get another at bat. You're going to get another play. There'll be another opportunity. And so that's why sports are so important. And not only from the fail succeed thing that happens on the field, but learning to work with a coach, maybe that you don't like, or maybe that's difficult, or maybe that's not the nicest person, and learning how to work through that relationship and have those conversations, and to deal with somebody who has authority over you in a certain environment that you may not totally 100% agree with, because you're going to have to do that a lot, later on in life. And the problem though with youth sports, from my own experience, is it's easy for coaches and parents to lose sight of that being the primary objective, and they get lost in who makes all-stars, who doesn't, or who gets to pitch the most, or who gets the most at bats, or who gets to play shortstop versus who gets to play first base, or whose son's the quarterback, whose son's the running
I really
back.
more of just want my boys to learn teamwork and hard work.
Yeah.
And
all those good
and
things.
showing up.
Showing
If
up.
you agreed
you made a commitment
to do, that's one of the biggest things that I liked that my mom did, is that if you made the agreement to do that sport, I'm sure a little bit of it is that I paid for it, you're gonna do it type of situation. But she always made sure that if we decided that we were gonna do something, whether it was a sport or violin or show choir or whatever it was, we were going to finish that season.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's one of the biggest lessons. Like you named like teamwork, work ethic, cooperate, like all those things. But one of the big ones is just accountability, being held. Yeah, you made a commitment, and you're accountable to a group of people outside yourself.
Yeah,
teammates are counting on you. Coaches are counting on you. You've got to show up, even on days you don't want to. You got to do it.
Even
Same
if
thing
you're
happens.
The kid riding the bench, you got to show up.
Yeah, and that stuff that sticks with you. When you're a parent, there aren't days off. You got to show up and do the work. You got to go to work. You can't take days off. Like that's just those are things that it's a muscle. It's like a muscle that you're exercising. And I think the earlier on and the more reps you get, the stronger that muscle is going to be over time. And you learn
just to take pride from that.
Yeah.
That you may not have won every single game, but you worked hard, you improved yourself, and you showed up.
You showed up every time. You honored your commitment, and you learn how to. Like I can just distinctly remember times growing up where having to go to baseball practice would interrupt like neighborhood playtime. I would be out running around after school, but then practice was like 5:30 or 6, and we'd have to like come in. And of course, it's not so much that we didn't want to go to practice.
You just didn't want to pause what you were doing.
Correct.
Yeah.
But that's like part of that experience is no doubt the first few times that happens, we reacted very poorly. We're being held accountable to a commitment, and we do not like that. But then you learn how to move through that. You learn how to feel that and respond the right way. And I think that's something like as a parent, I feel like sometimes I admit sometimes I'm probably too lax at times, but it's something I do try to keep in the back of my head when our kids don't act properly, is I try to remember like, this is them getting reps at like these emotions and these feelings, and they're kids. They're supposed to not be perfect. They're not supposed to be these perfect, rational human beings that respond proportionately and perfectly to every little thing. And sometimes I feel like as adults, we can very quickly and very easily lose sight of that.
Yeah.
And it's just very quickly to become frustrated and angry with them. And it's like, yeah, well, we're not so perfect ourselves, and we need to have a little bit of grace for and I feel like some people interpret that as me being lax. It's not me being lax. I just think I think too many adults hold children, adolescents, and teenagers to standards that are much higher than what they hold themselves to. And that to me is deeply, deeply unfair,
Mm-hmm.
And that, it just bugs me, because it's like, it's one of those things like, you shouldn't expect of others what you're not willing to do for yourself, and that's just, I think that's a good thing, a good rule for life, but I think it particularly plays out a lot with kids because we look at them as being beneath us and subservient to us and not our equals. So it's like we can have different standards for them.
I do see that, but I do struggle with the fact that when I'm asking Cal a question about a situation that he's about to get in trouble about, and this is the response I get. If I say the truth, am I going to get in trouble?
That's just, right? That's human nature, right?
No, I get that, but I don't
like when
know how to handle the situation.
Like when I confront you about stuff,
I want him to tell me the truth, but I also want him to know that that's not okay to do.
And the struggle though as humans is we feel that the only way that someone can know that it's not okay is they have to express negative emotions towards it. And I think we have to move beyond that. The appropriate response to demonstrate care.
He's already lying. He's proven that he's already lying. Because he will then later rat himself out after long conversations with me about it.
But humans lie.
No, I get that. But at what point does he get in trouble then?
It's kind of one of those things. It's like, what?
So he lied to me twice. I finally get the answer out of him. Does he get punished for the first 2 lies? Or does he get praised?
Well, I think for
telling the truth.
Like in my mind, the way I think about this kind of stuff is, whether it's intellectual or too academic, but I think of it in terms of like, why would someone lie? They lie to avoid things. What are they avoiding?
No, I understand that. But I told him that he would not get in trouble if he told me the truth. He then lied 2 times after that. So that's kind of my point of like, well then, does he get punished for those 2 times? But then the 3rd time he told the truth? But he told the truth because I pulled it out of him?
This is just like, everyone's going to think I'm a lax parent, but science demonstrates that punishment does nothing but cause avoidance behavior. That's all it does. So if people get punished for doing, saying, thinking, acting certain ways, you may punish them and you think that those things go away. Those things don't go away. They just stop doing them around you. People don't stop speeding because they get tickets. They just don't speed around cops. So that's where like positive reinforcement tends to be the most effective method for modifying people's behavior. But it's also the thing human beings struggle with doing the most, is positively reinforcing others or negatively reinforcing.
Well, and I think the biggest issue is that he goes based off of my face. And I don't have when I'm upset in a situation, I don't have a very good bluff.
Yeah, you don't have a good bluff and your tone of voice gives it away immediately.
Okay, talking about a tone of voice coming from you.
I know, I'm not.
Your voice constantly on a regular basis sounds hard.
I know. I'm just saying that from the outside in. Like Cal is such an empath. He knows immediately. He knows immediately one that he's done something wrong. He knows immediately 2 that you disapprove of exactly what he's done.
I know, but that's the part that frustrates me. He knows when we take a bath, he's not supposed to fling water over the side. The bucket was full and he dumped the bucket over the side.
And I'll give you,
he knows that that's not okay.
Okay, and I'm gonna give you two answers. I'm gonna give you two different answers from two different schools of thought, and one's gonna sound right to some people, one's gonna sound wrong.
Like, I'm not saying I'm gonna rip him out of the bathtub and spank him.
That's what my mom would be like. You want to put an end to that real quick? This is what you do.
No,
and that's what like a whole generation of parents.
But I'm struggling with how I'm supposed to do that. Then
I personally believe. I don't know. I personally believe like it's just setting the like, this is not okay, and these are the consequences for not following that. Excuse me, and then enforcing that. I
know, but how do you enforce that? What are you talking about when you say enforce?
So, like, if you are negatively reinforcing somebody, you want to take away some kind of stimulus that would be otherwise.
So then do I just remove him from the bathtub, is what you're saying?
No, like, if it was me, I'd be like, okay, Cal, if you continue to throw water outside the bathtub, you're not going to get to play on the game iPad tomorrow. You know what I mean? Something like that, which sounds soft and lax. I know that's like...
I don't think that sounds soft and lax in Cal's world.
That's a millennial... I mean, that's kind of a millennial parent answer, but I think that... I just don't agree. I just don't think punishment's a productive.
I'm just trying to understand but I would view that as a punishment.
Or but it's not. It's the removal of something.
No, I know, but in my eyes, I view that as a punishment.
Yeah, I mean,
because he's not getting access to something that he wants.
Which is fair. I mean, I can see. I mean, the words can become the terminology can be very picky and choosy, but I just think that.
I was just curious of how you would handle that situation because I didn't know.
I think setting very clear boundaries and I think that's the thing, is setting clear expectations about what behaviors are acceptable, what behaviors are not acceptable, and then setting very clear consequences for not meeting those expectations, and then being very consistent about applying those rules. You know what I mean? I think that's one of the biggest keys. But
so what? Like every time before he gets in the bathtub, I just make the comment.
Yeah.
If you pour water outside of the bathtub.
Yeah, the water stays in the bathtub. The water comes outside the bathtub, and then what's inevitably going to happen is the kid is going to lose their mind. Like when this happens, when this goes down, the consequences, they're going to become irrational about it. But that's where the hard work sets in as the parent, because they're trying to engage and negotiate and debate this situation. And as a parent, I feel like our job is to just be like, I'm sorry. I know you feel that way. I'm sorry you're upset. I'm sorry you're frustrated, but you understood I made it very clear that was the expectation. This is what would happen. And so this is what's happening. But okay,
but then what do you do on the line?
I don't think there's anything wrong with doing the same thing when they lie.
No, I know, but I'm saying in that situation, the lying twice, but then the third time telling the truth. So what? Like when he lies the first time, because I knew he was lying, and I said, like, what do I say there? I just. Like, what would you have done in that situation? Cal, if you don't tell me the truth, that you don't get the game iPad tomorrow?
I think, and I'm not saying that I have positive experiences with Cal all the time.
No, I know. I'm just trying to understand what your thought process is.
I don't think he lies to me as much because I have a better poker face, I think. Because I'm like, hey, bud, what's going on? What happened in here? And he thinks I'm kind of like on his side. And so he doesn't feel the need. He doesn't feel like he doesn't think that he's getting ready to be under assault. Not assault. That's a bad choice of word. He doesn't think he's getting ready to get into trouble. That's what he's scared of. Because where I'm coming from is I'm trying to come from a deep place of empathy. Because I know when I think I'm getting into trouble, my butthole puckers and I want everything in the world to do is hide. I want to crawl under something and hide because I think I'm getting ready to get into trouble and I've done something that
I do the same exact thing. I don't like getting into trouble either.
So I come from this place. It's like, how can I best diffuse that so that he doesn't go to the lizard part of his brain and immediately just, no, I didn't do that. No, that's not what happened. This is what happened. Blah, blah, blah. And I think that's sometimes why he will come clean.
Okay, so then how do I better handle that situation?
I don't,
because it kind of feels like I have already lost the situation.
I don't think you have. I think he just, because I can see his face.
Within 2 seconds, as soon as I enter a room, if he's done something bad, he's immediately shutting down.
Yeah, I can just see his face. He's just like immediately.
For some reason, he has labeled becomes like
super
as
serious
this,
and his eyes lock to your face.
Yeah, he has labeled me as the disciplinarian, even though I've never spanked him. I've never I
totally get what you're saying. I just think
I've never screamed at him or yelled at him, so I don't.
And I probably am more lax, and so he does. There isn't as much fear of God in him of me as he is of you, and I mean that's just probably.
I know, but that irritates me because I feel like I'm already having a losing battle situation.
I don't think
he's just gonna innately lie to me.
I don't think he will. I don't think he will. I think it's just working on it. And I think so desperately as parents, we want our kids to feel comfortable coming to us. You know, I used to always get so pissed as a kid because my mom would always tell me
conversations all the time.
My mom would always tell me, you just need to tell me the truth. If you don't lie, nothing bad will happen. And inevitably, the minute you come clean, shit hits the fan.
I know.
And you're like, fuck, well, I should have just lied and tried to get away with it because either way, this shit's going down. You know? And that's the thing is as people, we almost feel like telling the truth is not enough repentance for what you did. So we have to punish you more. And the thing is, it's no, the truth that is part of it. That is part of repentance, is putting into open what you did. And my assumption.
I know, but then the other part of me is if my parents would have had that game plan with me, me knowing myself as a child, I would have been the smart ass that's I don't get in trouble if I tell the truth.
So here's
I totally 100%
Steven Freeborn is totally calling
100%
bullshit on it because I know you, and to my assumption of human beings at their core. Steven, I 100% would have done it. No.
And then just came back and said, yeah,
no,
I did.
You wouldn't have. Because at your core, you know right and wrong. And you have the most guilty conscience. All of us have the most guilt. We know when we've done something wrong and we feel it and we tried to hide from it. And no matter how much we hide from it, it eats at us and it gets at us. And we cannot move past it until it's out. And that is just the default state of a human being. There is no need for anybody to punish me for my wrongdoing because I've already punished myself tenfold over in my mind about the way I think about myself, the way I feel about myself. I don't need someone to punish me when I do wrong. I need someone to create space for me to feel safe and not set upon to come clean about what I've done. That's what I need. And I feel like that's what other people need too. But for some reason, a lot of people have the assumption of humans that we are purely pleasure-seeking animals that will do whatever we want and not feel anything about it. And I just don't buy that because I see people that have such guilty consciences about everything they do, and they think about everything they do, and they worry, well, what if I say this, and what if that person feels this way, and what if they think this? And it's human beings are so much more conscious of what's right and what's wrong than what I think we give them credit for. And I know you, like, you wouldn't just do bad things.
No, I don't. But the thing is that in high school, I didn't view those things as bad things. Me sneaking out of my house to go hang out with my friends in my front yard, I didn't view that as a bad thing.
That's fair. I mean, that's
so
that's
I
a fair point too.
100% think that teenage Kelsey would have been like, I just gotta tell mom the truth. I'm not gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, but okay, so let me play this out though for you. Like at that age, is like, as a parent, don't you think it's somewhat misguided to think that anything you do can somehow control what your child does? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't think any level of punishment.
Steven, I was weighing out punishment versus what I was doing. Me sneaking out to go hang out with friends, is that worth being grounded for the next week or two or getting my car taken away? 90% of the time, I said, yeah.
I know, but doesn't that speak to like the larger conversation here about, it's like, why are you having to sneak out to see your friends? Well, because you get punished. Well, the reason I have to sneak is so that I don't get punished. So that at some level, that's like a form of the avoidance behavior, because the punishment created that. You know it's something that you're trying to do, but you know it results in this bad thing happening. So you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, but your parents, if you walk into your parents' room at midnight saying, hey, such and such is coming over and we're just going to hang out in the front yard, that parent's going to say no. And then that kid's going to weigh the decision on if they're going to want it to do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I see your point. It's messy. I mean, it's all very messy. I don't want to criticize other people and how they parented and did things, and I don't want to, as not having been in those similar circumstances myself, I don't want to try to act like I would handle it any better or anything. But I just wonder, like, at what point do you start to have that thought process of, you know, my kid needs to make their own decisions and needs to be able to learn from those, and we need to be able to have conversation about them. I mean, I understand there's an age at which you have to be the protector for your kid. Your kid can't make some of the same cognitive, it doesn't have its advanced cognitive processes to be able to evaluate risk and reward and things of that nature, that you as a parent have to be that modulator, you know. But is there a point as a parent where you have to step back and say, you know, it's more important that my kid understands my point of views and understands from where I'm coming from, but I have
I'm
to
just
let
saying,
them.
I personally think that this type of thinking works, I'm sure, on some kids.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that
totally.
the
There's not one
teenage
size fits all.
Kelsey, 100% probably would have taken advantage of the situation. I'm not saying adult Kelsey now, who actually.
But but I think that there is some level of that where is there really more morality at play in that situation? Going into your front yard to hang out with your friends. Is morality at stake? Is there a real right and wrong? Is there a real arbiter there? Other than
when your parents tell you no, you can't do that. That is a right and wrong situation.
No, I'm saying from my hypothesis of human beings know right and wrong, and they feel guilty for right and wrong behaviors and choices. So it's like the arbiter there is just a parent deciding that that's not right, and you as another human being is saying that I think it is, and that's like a differing of opinion. So it's like, since you wouldn't have guilt about
it. At 15 years old, you're okay with Cal just sitting out front at 1 a.m. with his buddies.
I would be 100% okay with Cal doing what you did. the calculus of it. I'd be 100% okay with him coming to me and saying, "Hey, Dad," or me saying, "Hey, Cal, you went out there with your buddies. You're grounded for a week." And I'd be 100% okay with having that conversation with him saying, "I know, Dad, I understood that, and I did it anyways because I didn't think it was that big of a deal, and I think it's well worth a week being grounded." I'd be like, "Hey, respect. That's totally cool." And I think that goes back to like establishing what are my expectations. Here are the consequences for not meeting them. It's not an emotional thing. It's just
No, I'm fine with that. That makes me feel better in the situation because the way you made it seem was, well, if he told the truth.
I don't want to make it seem like that where like everything is
That was the part that I was struggling with.
acceptable.
Because I was like,
But
so because he told me the truth, then that just eliminates everything else that just happened in the situation.
no, it shouldn't. It shouldn't eliminate all the consequences. But I would hope that there'd be enough honest and ongoing conversations to be able to have a kid and have a relationship where that situation could really play out, where my kid could be like, "Yeah, hey, Dad, I went out there anyways, and it is what it is, and I'll accept whatever punishment or whatever consequence there is, but I just disagree with your decision."
It makes me uncomfortable.
And I am coming, like I told you the other week, like I'm coming to a very stark realization of how differently I see the world and how differently I see things, how I view things, how I evaluate things. And this is just, I think, another example where I just think so much of parenting is arbitrary authoritarianism over your child because you're an adult and they're a kid. And it's just arbitrary. Like, it's either driven by convenience or laziness.
I know, but I also don't want to raise a little asshole, though.
No, I mean, I'm not either, but I don't think that. I think a lot of things that parents do that they're like, "This is so important. This is so crucial. This is how I'm going to make my kid be this person." And it's like, I just kind of disagree with you. I think a lot of it's for your own benefit, for your convenience, out of your own laziness. Like, if you're a good, upright, standing human being who speaks to people kindly and treats people nicely and demonstrates those behaviors in front of your child's probably going to be pretty good. But if you're the other way, or you don't demonstrate those behaviors, or you demonstrate the exact opposite behaviors while parenting, while talking to your kid about the ones behaviors that you desire from them, I don't think it's going to work out very good. But I'm totally self-aware enough to know how different, like, my opinion is on these things, and how unbattle tested it all is. For a lot of this is just Steven's hypothesis. There's parents that have been in the trenches, that have gone through this shit. So, like,
I'm just saying that I personally think that you're thinking on a front of this would have worked with Steven.
I'm not, though. I'm not. I'm not. I'm thinking of it from it. Like I said, this is all theoretical. It's all Steven's thinking. He's read this. He's listened to this. He's had this experience, and it's all this amalgamation of all these different things. And at this point, it's just, this is what I think. Now, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. So I wholeheartedly defer to parents that have been there and done it. It's hard to critique how my parents were with me, considering they actually lived it with a teenager. They lived it with a young adult. They dealt with all that. We haven't got there yet. So it's to be determined at this point.
I know, but we already have a very, very strong little toddler, and I'm getting rocked.
I think it's a part of it. It's a challenge. Every day is something different, keeping us on our toes. All right, that was a long one. We got off on a tangent there.
Mm-hmm.
You were for a little bit there. I felt like I was a little bit on trial. You've been a good lawyer.
No, I just am wanting to understand.
I was having to kind of like step, like I don't know, is she gonna get me?
I just was wanting to understand your thought process on it because I have been.
That's what I think
I'll
about
admit it. I've been struggling.
You know why though,
with
babe?
agreeing with
So you're so lucky because I feel so safe and secure with you that I will open up with you about this stuff because I know that I'm aware to know how crazy I probably sound to a lot of people.
No, I don't think you sound
And how
crazy.
different.
I think logically it makes sense. But then I think
Because I would never
I'm
have
not
these
saying I'm not saying that I was a bad kid. I'm just saying that I weighed my options and I kind of felt because I will admit that I was a child that was more of a follower. And I didn't have the best influences in my life. And so if my friends were doing it, well, I didn't want to be left out. I wanted to do it. But I don't remember being like, oh my God, my mom's gonna be so mad. Like, I remember being like, she's gonna find out and I'm gonna get in trouble.
That's fair though. Like that's like respect. Like I think though too, like there's a level of all this parenting behavior, your kid, like there's a combination of nature nurture. There's a combination of all of how all of this plays, how it all, they're not independent, right? It's what you do here changes this, and what you did here impacts how they are here, and nothing is in a vacuum when you're working with humans. You know, everything is so interrelated. How you were with them when they were 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. Everything is building upon itself and layering, right? So it's like at some level you get to a certain point and it's like, okay, well, that's a byproduct of all these hundreds of thousands of decisions and interactions and lessons and parenting and things that have played out over all these years. And so it's really hard to like analyze it and pick it apart because it's all just so layered together.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I don't know. But if people ask me about these things, I would probably tell them more, but I don't like to talk and share it very much. I'll tell you, and I tell Dane, but nobody else knows. What?
Well, I mean, now all of our listeners know.
Oh, well, that's okay, too. This is good to document it and get out in the world. But people are going to listen to this and be like, man, Stevan was one hippie-ass parent.
I think that sometimes, too.
Yeah. You little free-loving hippie.
No, I just am like...
You just need to spank your kid's ass and put them in their place.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just...
No, that's how, like, so much...
I know, but because you think that way, sometimes I feel that I come off harder on Cal. So his first instinct is like, that bitch is hard. Not gonna go to her for anything. Just gonna go over to Fun Dad over there.
No, they like us. They like us both.
Mm-mm.
All right. Well, I had fun. This was good. We get caught up. We're gonna have to record another one tomorrow night to get real caught up. But yeah, I don't really know. I haven't checked the stats. I don't really know if anyone's listening anymore. But I still enjoy making them and uploading them. So we'll keep rocking and rolling. Find us on Instagram. I'm at Stevan.Freeborn. Kelsey is at KFreeborn412. Kelsey's now 29 years old too, by the way.
I really feel like that.
Wish her a belated happy birthday. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Good night.